Today we're here to talk about our comprehensive exam preparation library. This library is used across the country by electricians studying for their electrical exams. It has been so popular because it's a way for electricians to study at home at their own pace and in their own space. They have the opportunity to not have to be in a classroom at a particular time in a particular place. So they're able to customize a program on their own. So today we're here to talk about how the program was developed and what was behind the development of it and the individual pieces, theory, code, and calculations. So Mike, can you please share with us your vision of how you designed this program?
Well, this is the comprehensive program. And when I took my journeyman's tests back in the 70s, there were no books, there were no programs. I had to just do whatever I thought was possible. And it was incredibly frustrating. And I saw so many of my peers intimidated to take the tests because they weren't sure what it was about. Now, I didn't get a chance to go through an apprenticeship training program so that when I go to study for something, I didn't have the knowledge. And as the years have gone by, in the last 40 years, as I've provided training for just tens of thousands of people, I've learned some fundamentals. Number one was basic electrical theory. And this textbook is what I use to start the process. If you don't understand theory, and I'll just kind of show it up here, if you have no basis for electrical theory, then when we move on to the next portion of the program, which is the National Electrical Code, and then it makes it impossible because you don't understand the fundamentals. And what somebody doesn't want is you really don't want to go on an online course and answer a bunch of questions because you can get good at answering questions and using your code book. But unfortunately, when you become licensed, people say, oh, you're a licensed electrician or you're a master electrician, and you're expected to understand the knowledge. And without having that knowledge, they always feel this hollow, like, okay, I'm a pretender. I really don't know what's going on. And so this program is designed to take you from the basics, from theory to code and to calculations. Another part that I struggled with was that when I was studying, if there were any books I could study, there were no exam preparation books, is that they would have graphics or illustrations, and I'll kind of show some illustrations here, is that the illustrations that I used in our textbook are highly detailed. Balanced electrons, starting in the beginning, and then we kind of go on. And when I wrote the theory book said that it was practical. It covers circuit breakers up on the left-hand side. It has to do with interrupting rating, a short circuit rating. We get into GFCIs. So when we wrote the theory book, the book is based upon the theory that the electrician in the field would need to know so that when they finally come over to the National Electrical Code, because there are GFCI requirements, let's say, in the National Electrical Code. Well, this is the code, but people don't understand what a GFCI is, and that's what we get the theory portion of it.
So what you're saying is that the theory not only helps them answer the theory questions on their exams, but in addition, it sets them up for success for the code questions that they're going to have.
Two things. You have general knowledge on the test.
Right.
Well, general knowledge is fundamentals. Well, it's not theory. Okay, a circuit breaker is not theory. Theory is going to be balanced electrons, capacitance, inductance. So in our theory book, and we're actually going to change the title of the theory book from electrical theory to electrical theory and general knowledge.
Got it.
GFCIs, AFCIs, how they function. Now, when you get to the National Electric Code, we cover that. Now, the way our textbooks is written, at least the NEC textbook is written, we start with the very first article, which is going to be Article 90, right here, in the beginning, and we follow the code. So in our understanding the National Electric Code, we explain things. We have examples, we have illustrations, we use photos. We make it real. We make it so a person feels that when they get done with this particular book, I understand the theory, so now I understand, now I know why the code says that. Before, if you don't understand fundamentals, then you're like, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Who needs that? Who needs that? But you're the expert. You're the go-to person. You're the person that's moving up in the industry that one day is going to replace Mike Holt, replace all the other leaders. So we need our leaders to start with the basics and the fundamentals. You get theory, you get code, and now when you take a test.
Getting back to your code example, how do the DVDs, what we know is that people are intimidated to take exams. And it's hard for a lot of people. They didn't like taking exams in the first place. And they don't always like reading books. How do the DVDs, some people say they like the DVDs because they enjoy watching a DVD more than the book. How do the two work together?
The book is fine, but it's single dimensional. The DVD is great. See, the DVD really gets the experts to take the information of a simple rule and really expand upon it and put it to life. In other words, this is actually making it real life in the DVDs. But watching a DVD and not reading the textbook and then not taking the practice questions. So you have to be able to practice this. Watching something doesn't make you well at it. You have to look at it and realize, okay, let me practice this. And that's when you have to start engaging the mind with the process and work it out. So you need to read a book, then you need to watch a DVD, then you need to practice questions, and then you need to go through the entire program, and then you got to go back again. Watch the DVD, take a look at the questions that you missed the first time. So the DVD is going to fill in a lot of the blanks. It's going to, I would say the DVD is what is going to give the person the knowledge that they could never receive anywhere else, because you have the experts on the team caring about, let me give you some case studies. Let me give you some examples of what happens when somebody cuts the strands off of a conductor. Let me talk about what happens if somebody takes a cover off and works on it while it's energized. So all of a sudden a person's like, wow, I hadn't thought about that possibility. Now I use my comprehensive exam preparation as an excuse to make you qualified. So you need to take the test, and so it's like...
So it's not just an exam preparation program. It is truly a training program to be more effective in the field.
To know what you're doing. I want you to really know what you're doing. You start with the fundamentals on basic electrical theory, and then you see how it applies to reality. Then when you get to the code, you understand the physics, how the relationship of physics of the theory and the general knowledge, how it relates to the code. But then you have the team members that are explaining the realities. Let me give some case studies. Let me give you some examples. Let me tell you what happened in my case, why we did this. Why did the rule change? Why was it one time? Why was it another time a different direction? This is really golden. This is taking many decades of knowledge of people, transforming that information to you. So all of a sudden you watch the program, you read the book, you do the practice questions, you go to the job site, you're going to be by far ahead of so many people that did not have that information.
We hear people get back with us, email us after they pass their licenses, and that's wonderful to hear. But what's really exciting to hear about this program is when people write to us years later and say, not only did I pass this exam, or not only did I pass these 4 state exams, but it transformed my career. I was the most knowledgeable person out in the field. My whole team became more knowledgeable because once I passed that exam and really understood things, I shared that with my team. So I guess that's what you're trying to say, is it's not just to pass an exam. That's the first piece, but it's also going to transform their business and their understanding in the field.
Those of us that train in my Holt Enterprises, all my team members, we actually have a bigger goal than that. Our goal is to realize electricity kills people. It causes fires. There are electrocutions. We are involved in court cases. We see the tragedies. I think Eric Stromberg, one of the team members, even today, I think in some facility he's involved in, there's a guy that got shocked at 277, and we found out, hey, the guy didn't die. I mean, I know of fires. So what we want is we want qualified people, because we realize these people, the individuals that are starting with the book, they're starting with the program. Since I'm going to be leaving, I want to be able to take this baton and I want to pass it on to the next generation. And I want them to understand, you need to make sure that we provide a safe environment. We have to follow the code. We have to understand the fundamentals. So the biggest goal is to have somebody who's going to be the next leader, because as they get the knowledge, they're going to get the position of authority. But we need them to make sure that when they are qualified, and now they're a journeyman, or they're qualified and now they're a master. I just got an email from a guy. He's the electrician for the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm thinking, wow, that's an amazing job. You're the electrician for the Federal Reserve Bank? I'm thinking to myself, I guess you really don't want your computers to cut off, right? So, I mean, there are some heavy, important responsibilities that we have. And I can tell you one thing, if you're the electrician for NASA or for a laboratory or whatever the case may be, we need that person to be qualified. So the goal is to make sure we make you so qualified that you have the confidence to be able to do your job, and you're then the next leader. And you know what follows all of that? Hard work, effort, information, responsibility, and it's nice to be able to be compensated. But So we have a responsibility as a company and as an individual in what we do. We don't want to put an online course for $39 and have 1,000 code questions, and then you kind of answer the code questions, and before you know, you got all the answers, and then of course now you're going to be an electrician, you're going to be the head guy in this, and you don't know you don't understand even theory. So that's our passion, to make sure you're qualified.
So it goes theory, code, and then calculations is the third piece?
Yeah. Then we have the calculation. Then the calculations, we use our exam preparation for that. Now, this is more math. We're bringing in, let's say in Unit 2, is some electrical circuits, so people understand electrical circuits. And then you kind of get into more advanced levels, and we're getting into motors and transformers and air conditioning equipment and conductor sizing and protection and all those things. And then every book we have has questions. At the end of every chapter has questions. And our questions are structured to follow clearly the book itself. So if you take a look at this particular one right here, this question is on 8.5. So this question, you'd go into the book to find 8.5 so that you can get the right answer. And then we go from basic questions to challenge questions. So what we're doing is we're building you up slowly.
So you're building blocks of knowledge.
Slowly. We start with, listen, here's how an electron works. You say, well, why would you know why? Who cares what electron works? Well, later on, we need to talk about something, but if you don't understand how electrons operate, then you won't understand, well, why is copper considered more conductive than aluminum? And what are the properties of copper compared to aluminum? And then we get into the DVDs, and then we start talking about, well, can you use aluminum wire? And why should you use aluminum wire? Should you not use aluminum wire? What was the history? Why is there some problems? How do GFCIs work? Why is the code requiring this? So we want this person to build theory, general knowledge, understand how you can take that information and transform that to the code, get that information, but then I won't say the most difficult part, depending on the people, but for many people, it's the many calculations, which is kind of like the engineering. An electrician, boy, or anybody in that capacity, it's an amazing amount of information.
Absolutely.
And the responsibility is to protect the public. So we have to size the wires. We have to size the breakers. We have to make sure the pipe sizes are properly, the boxes are sized properly. You calculate the size to a commercial building and your transformers and conductors. And you're an electrician. You're not wiring a house.
Yeah.
It isn't you're just doing a house only. You're a journeyman electrician. I'm going to call you in, and you know what? Somebody is going to be the next electrician at the Federal Reserve Bank. Somebody's going to be the next electrician at NASA. Somebody. And so that's what this program is designed. If somebody's saying, listen, I need to take my test, I need to take it in 2 weeks, and I want to spend the least amount of money.
This is not the program.
This is probably not the program, because how are you going to look? You got theory, code, calculations. I can't even tell you how many DVDs. Each DVD is between 4 to 6 hours. Then you have to do, I don't know, I would say in our textbook here, there has to be 4,000 to 5,000 questions. I mean, that's not easy. I'm going to say...
But they wouldn't have to complete that all. If they are able to work through the material, do they have to go through each and every section?
Yeah,
okay.
Because you're supposed to be qualified.
Got it.
The only way we know you're qualified, or for you to... It's intrinsic. I know what I'm doing. Now, I know it needs practice now. I need more practice to apply this. But yes, you have to read every page. You have to look at every single graphic. You have to answer every single question. And then you don't understand, then you highlight that, say, I'm going to come back to that later on. You complete the whole program. You come back again. You watch the DVDs. Wow, I can't believe I see what he was saying. And then you complete the whole program. You know what? It's going to take 4 to 6 months. I mean, if you want to do it right. Now, who needs to take the comprehensive course?
Yeah.
Oh, I did a 4-year program. Well, yeah, but when did you do the 4-year program? And when you did 4 years of material, let's say recently, how much can you remember of 4 years, and how does this all apply and bring it together? So really, in a lot of apprenticeship training programs, they use our exam preparation to bring the theory, code, and calculation together.
All together at the end.
So an individual really needs to go back again, bring it together when you want to go to the next level. That's what this is about.
Isn't it also really necessary for someone that's maybe been in the field for 10 years and knows maybe their code book, but they really have never tested before and they haven't really had a lot of practice in doing those types of questions, for them to still learn the general fundamentals? Because if they've been out in the field doing it, don't they still need the theory piece?
They probably didn't take theory.
Right.
And they don't know the code.
I see.
They heard the code because, well, you can't do that because that's code. And the inspector says you can't do it because it's code. So they have all this conversation, but have never taken an actual program. If they've never really taken a complete theory program and a code program, and they're not licensed, which means they've never taken continuing education, they're just mechanics. They know how to do the work efficiently and effectively, and they have experience. But that only takes you so far. Because I need to be able to solve problems. I need you to be able to make the decisions. So the leaders, the ones that are going to make the most money, the ones that are going to work when times get tough and the economy goes down and they have to start getting rid of people, the ones that we can depend on, that we can have the least amount of supervision on, the ones that are going to be able to do the job, those are the ones that are going to make the money. Those are the ones that are going to have confidence in themselves, and those are the ones that are going to be the leaders as we're gone.
Well, you've done a great job explaining it. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd add about this program that you would like people to know?
It's work. It's a lot of work. Wow, I got kids, and you don't understand, I'm working overtime. And all those things are reality. But I did this. I didn't have books like this. I had to do this all on my own to try to figure out what it was and try to teach myself because I didn't have that opportunity. But I had 7 kids, and I'm running a business. And it was a matter of a priority. I get an email just the other day, hey, Mike, I'm an electrician, and I got a couple kids, and, I don't have a lot of money, and, anything. Listen, education is not free. It's an investment, and you need to invest in what it takes to make sure that you're qualified to make the money. So sometimes people they don't see the big picture. So my comment to you is that I used to get up at 4 a.m. before the kids got up so I could work. And sometimes we'll put a link in our website about how it affects the family, because you do have to sacrifice the family because you're working in your little closet. You take all the clothes out of the closet, put your desk inside there, close the door, keep the kids out of there. And well, when am I going to see Daddy? Well, guess what? You're not seeing Daddy Saturday and Sunday after I worked all week long because I am focused. It's going to take me 3 months or 4 months, but I'm going to get myself skilled. I'm going to get the knowledge I have to have. I'm going to feel good about myself. And when you take the test,
you're going to be confident.
It's not, and it's not that big of a deal.
It's not a big a deal. So all that fear is gone because you've done the work.
You're prepared. You've done the best you possibly can. So I would leave it that make the investment in yourself, but then once you get the product, make the investment in continuing that information. But once you get the journeyman's license, that's not the end. It just doesn't end there. Now you have to learn about power quality, and you have to learn about estimating and business management, because it's a continuous growth. It's just the beginning of the career becoming. This is just the beginning right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.